Welcome to Inside the Walls with William Pasquale, brought to you by Perna Frederick Commercial Real Estate. Welcome to a new level of commercial real estate built upon relationships and proven results. Good afternoon and welcome to Inside the Walls with William Pasquale. Today we have a special Thanksgiving week edition of our show, and also we're live for the first time on LinkedIn Live. So bit exciting here, see what this new platform experience is going to be like. So for this week, I wanted to do something a bit different. So far, over the past few months, I've been broadcasting shows on Inside the Walls with William Pasquale, talking with different leaders in business, influencers, and people that really make a difference here in the Philadelphia area as well as across the country. And one segment of our show, sorry for the little bit of noise there, one part of our show is called Wisdom on the Walls, where we ask people about what moves them, what's their mantra, their credo, words that they live by. And I had a great, interesting set of responses. And this is something that's a little bit more towards the end of the show. So I wasn't sure how many people really got a chance to see them. So in this episode, we're really just going to be kind of going through and showing them all and talking a little bit about it. So with that being said, the first one that I got was from my brother-in-law, Eric Savage. Now, I don't know if I had said that on the show that he's my brother-in-law, but he's my brother-in-law. And he's also an amazing human being and pretty much one of the people that I respect most in business, just because of the way that he lives his life and the way he runs his company. And he has something called the life improvement business, which he's dealt with within the car dealerships that he's operated, as well as the spas that he now owns and operates in the Hawaiian Islands. So with that being said, Eric's philosophy, which is not a surprise to me, is, when all's said and done, there'll be one question. Did you learn how to love? I had this idea that we came up with, and candidly, I'll give some of the credit over to you, because we talked about this, when we were going through what we're going to be talking about in the interview a little, was wisdom on the wall. So we have Inside the Walls is the name of this show. And so wisdom on the wall, if you had to pick like one thing that would be like wisdom you wanted to share, that you wanted to be known for, what would that be?
It's a great question. So I would go with this quote. It's from my brother, who is a doctor, Jimmy. And Jimmy says this one, and it is, when all is said and done, there will be one question. Did you learn to love? And I think that is the ultimate question for all of us to be answering every day in all of our activities. Does this look like love? Am I learning how to love? And how I'm managing this issue, this problem, this challenge?
So that was the first one. Now, Eric really does live this in his day-to-day life. And I know that's how he leads his employees, without a questionable doubt, throughout the years that I've known him. And those are the type of leaders that we're really looking to interview on this show, is people that are really making a difference and moving the mark. The next person was a gentleman by the name of Chris Hawker. Now, Chris Hawker is one of the co-owners and founder of Next Level Trainings. He's also a world-class inventor of many different products. And his philosophy in life really is simple. You got to play all in and play in the game of win-win.
Play all in. Viktor Frankl said, that which emits light must endure burning. And I'm like, burn bright. This is your shot. This is not the dress rehearsal. And make your choices based on the life you want to live, not based on any goal. Like I see so many people chase money or the biggest possible financial outcome instead of the biggest possible life outcome. And money and financial and business success can be part of that. But if you don't look at the big picture and go for the biggest possible life, I mean, that's really what Next Level is about too. It's like, but the biggest possible life for you. But the only way to have the biggest possible life is to play with 1,000% of your effort. And why wouldn't you? It's what makes life exciting and fun. It's what leads to great results. So that's, play all in. That's my number one thing. Play all in and play win-win.
That's awesome. Now, Chris, in running Next Level Trainings, I mean, the real impact of Next Level is that they're going out and influencing and transforming the lives of these individuals and their families and their businesses by teaching emotional intelligence. So, the idea of playing in a win-win world is core curricula for them. And I've definitely been a beneficiary, as I've also been a student of that for the past few years. Next, I have another individual who, his name is Will Toms. He is the co-founder and chief creative officer at Rec Philly, an amazing human being and individual. And Rec Philly is really a co-working space, that's made for the creative audience. So with that, let me kind of get into what Will's got to talk about. And it's, about independent doesn't mean being alone.
Listen, I built my whole business around this one phrase, this one idea. So I got to just go with this one. And that phrase, those words are independent doesn't mean alone. So for all my entrepreneurs that are out there, I think sometimes when we think about building something ourselves, about being the top dog, we quickly start to think that means we got to do everything on our own. We got to do everything ourselves, right? And sometimes out of necessity. But what I've learned is there's something special about building that mastermind group, being able to find the people who are like-minded, but with varied skill sets. And together you guys can be way stronger than any one individual. So I'll leave you guys with independent doesn't mean alone.
That's awesome. Now, if you've never been down to Rec Philly, they're in the Fashion District in Philadelphia, and it's an incredible facility. Definitely recommend you take a look at it. As I'm sure, and they also do shows once we get back into more of a show type of environment where they have different productions and acts going on down there. But just an incredible organization with a deep heart for the city of Philadelphia. The next person we had the chance to interview was a gentleman by the name of John Lavin. Now, John Lavin oversees the Philadelphia area when it comes to an organization known as Primerica, and they're an investment arm into life insurance and different types of securities. Now, John is a powerhouse of a leader, running a team of thousands of people, and has been doing so for like the last 30 plus years. John at his core is just a solid heart, and a lot there to be grateful for, and just knowing him and knowing his team. So with that, his words on the wall: work hard, be nice.
A real easy one. Work hard and be nice, right? So I really think that being nice and caring and having a win-win focus is how you become successful in business. Being others focused and others centered. And so in my business, and as I'm coaching clients and I'm coaching our associates, my number one top priority is to care and to understand where is someone coming from, what's important to them, what are their goals, what are their dreams, what are their concerns. And if I can focus on that and then do my best to solve a challenge or problem they've got, that's a win-win. And so whether that's their finances, whether that's their income that they want to earn or business that they'd like to own, I really need to find out what do they want. And if I work hard to help them get what they want, and I'm really nice and I really care and I really mean it, and it's not a bunch of BS, but it's sincere, then everything seems to work really well for us from there. We get a lot of referrals, and our goal is really to have raging fans that feel so good about what we do that they can't wait to tell others about us.
Nothing like a live interview when you think you're off camera drinking some apple juice there, apple cider. Anyway, so John's just, like I said, an incredible individual with an incredible organization. And if you're not familiar with Primerica, I definitely recommend you checking them out. Next, we have Jerry Sweeney, the CEO of Brandywine Realty Trust. Now, for those of you not in the Philadelphia area, you might not be as familiar with them, but if you're in Philadelphia or Austin or in the DC area, you definitely know who they are, as they're, here in Philly, they're the largest landlord, in commercial landlord in the area. And Jerry Sweeney is just a cornerstone here in the Philadelphia commercial real estate community that I'm a part of. So, Jerry had a very interesting, a very detailed words on the wall segment. I'm going to let it speak for itself. But he really kind of goes into talking about that not every real estate project turns out as expected. And here is his wisdom on the wall. What are some of those words that you live by?
Well, I'll look at it from both a business and a personal standpoint.
Okay.
And they're both kind of intertwined. But anyone that's worked with me knows I have a picture of a turkey on my wall in the office. And underneath the picture of the turkey, it says, "Not every real estate project turns out as expected." And I look at that every time we go to make an investment decision. I always look at that, and I think what that really does is ground me, because the real estate business is one that tends to be egocentric and emotionally driven, and I think it's very, very important to make sure that you maintain a level of humility about how you approach the business, because we are dealing. Look, we're talking about Schuylkill Yards. They're 36-month build. That's the world could be completely different to the positive or the negative in 3 years. So you're taking on a lot of risk. So, I mean, one of my favorite sayings, before destruction, the heart of a man is haughty, and before honor goes humility. So I think having a level of humility as you approach things, and certainly I know our team has that, because you really need to recognize that just because you want it to be so doesn't always make it so. And everyone has to manage their ego and their own expectations in the context of a world in which we can't control everything. And I think at a personal level, and this really was replete through the board meetings that we did and all the employee calls, was really the 4 F's, which is, family, faith, focus, forward. And I think, nothing's more important than family. And I think we tried to build a culture that's family oriented, both your own family, but the Brandywine family. Faith, however you define it, has to be a governing predicate of your life. I mean, you have to have some level of foundation to help you guide all the decisions you make, whether it's personal or professional. Focus, you got to focus on the task at hand, but then always want to keep your mind forward. So I think as we look at those 4 words, they really kind of got us through the pandemic. They helped us focus on those danger items, and also helped us identify forward areas that can present some opportunity for us. So I guess that's how I would wrap up those comments. I mean, humility and those 4 F's, I think, are really, at least for me, have been very helpful in helping me keep myself grounded anyway.
So family, faith, focus, and forward. I think in this time here, especially during this time in the Philadelphia area, in our country and in the world, spending time with our family, whether that be through the virtual environment or through in person during Thanksgiving, whether that, be your faith in a higher power, in God, and what you believe in, faith in your product, faith in the work that you're doing, focusing in on the work that's at hand, and just keeping the ball moving forward is all critical right now. So, love Jerry Sweeney. Next, we have Steve Perna, who is the president of Perna Frederick Commercial Real Estate here in the city of Philadelphia. And I work with Perna Frederick. So great organization. Can't say enough about him. And, he is all about running your own race, and that life is a participation sport. So take a look at Steve's.
Being around as long as I've been around, you read a lot of different things, and you try and use certain things for guidance. So what would I say would be wall-worthy to post up there? I would say just a few things. One, run your own race. 2, definitely run your own race. 2, that life is a participation sport, not so much a spectator sport. And this concept of learning how, about paying your dues. So run your own race. Understand your abilities. I would have loved to be a Major League Baseball player, but I, at some point, realized that wasn't in the cards. And even in my profession, we'd like to think we can do certain things that, that we always aspire to, but realize, that may not be where my talents are best suited. So make sure you run your own race and run it hard and do it well. That is definitely something that I would think is important. In today's world, you can be inundated 24/7 with reading about what other people are doing. So when I say life is a participation sport, you can stand and watch and be a spectator and read about this or read about that. And I even tell this to my kids about staying on the laptop all the time and just reading about what other people are doing. So put it down and stop reading. I mean, you have to read for some information, but get in the game. Get in the game, because you literally, as you know, we can spend all day reading articles, whether it's current about pandemic, whether it's about other things, self-help, whatever it is, but you don't actually get out there and do it. So,
Right.
And then paying your dues. I remember a long time ago, I was probably complaining to my father about some unexpected setback in my life that was important to me. Probably he looked at it as, that's not that big of a deal. And he said, look, let me tell you something about paying your dues. Just because you go through that toll, that life toll, don't think you're done. It only gives you the right to get back in line again, to pay them again. Just hope that each time the line is longer and the toll is less expensive. So that helps ground you and realize no matter what, you don't get too high, don't get too low, because you never know what's coming. And so maybe you can find some space on your wall for a couple of those things.
I love Steve Perna. You know, there's lots of things that, you know, you can say about different business leaders throughout the area. It's the ones that do stay focused in what their business is and keeping the ball moving forward during this unique and challenging time that really does, you know, you can really see it as somebody, you can really see what that means to somebody. And Steve Perna just continues to move the ball forward every day, no matter what is going on. And, you know, it's great to work with him. Next I had up was Richard Harmon. Now, Richard Harmon's words on the wall were quick and brief. You know, I think it was the shortest one that I had. But Richard really is an amazing individual working for CSG Partners out of New York. Richard lives in Dorado Beach, Puerto Rico currently. And he really is like the master of working through employee stock ownership programs on a national level. So if you have a need for that, definitely reach out to Steve. Reach out to Richard. But that being said, what makes him tick and what makes him move every single day definitely is his business. It's what his focus is. It's what his core is, and just a quality human being. So here's a quick look at Richard Harmon.
Well, I would say for my passion, which is, you know, putting in place all these ESOPs and creating all this abundance for everybody, it would be creating legacies, magnifying wealth, and enriching lives. That's my purpose. So.
Next I had up was a gentleman by the name of Jason Crisneros. Now, Jason I've known for a number of years, like Richard. We actually met through the same connections. And Jason is just, you know, he is also known as the Bald Avenger. He has a great podcast that he does. He also runs, you know, Anton J Global in dealing with business turnarounds. But his core is just being in a constant giving mode when it comes to dealing with people that are, you know, child and sex slaves, as well as, you know, helping, you know, people get out of those environments and feeding the hungry. So Thanksgiving is a special time of year for him. I know that. He's just a quality human being. And let you know, you get a great taste for him on Man's Search for Meaning.
So for me, it's knowing, look, everybody's life has to have meaning to it, right? Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, right? 101 has to have meaning. The meaning that I have given my life is that my businesses and my business expertise can be used as a tool by God, by charities, and used as skill sets to be able to ease suffering, right? Everybody thinks that we're going to cure this and cure that, and we're going to end this and we're going to end that. Look at our human nature is that suffering is part of it. And for us to ease the unnecessary suffering of real victims, right? We live in a society where victimhood is rewarded, no matter, you know, oh, people are mad at me because they're prejudiced against bald-headed people, whatever. We've made up all kinds of things for that, right? But you're just in denial, bro.
I'm getting there, man. I'm getting
Not a
there.
receding hairline. It's a protruding forehead, right? It's a solar panel for a love machine. That's the one that I really love.
Yeah,
So, but at the end of the day, like your meaning, and I've tried to retire a couple of times, was miserable. When I figured out I don't want to retire, I want to work hard for the rest of my life for the right reasons. And if I can help good people make more money, then they're going to help charities, and they're going to help those charities are going to learn business skill sets and tools, and they're going to be resourced. And, you know, when it's $3,600 for us to per little girl or little boy that we rescue, you know, the more $3,600 that I can stack up. Yes, I do put on the bulletproof stuff and go in and get the kids myself, but I also have this tool when I'm not doing that to be able to help people like that are watching this show really make a lot more money so that they can have an impact. Doesn't have to be the things I'm passionate about, but your life has to have meaning. And for me, it is boiled down to, after lots of failures and lots of recoveries and lots of attempts at retirement, is to know and understand that my passion, my energy comes from serving. And that serving is people that have had choice ripped out of their life. And they need people like us to show up. That you saw in the intro video. I love that they put that in there. Philanthropreneur. And that is using your business skill sets to be able to ease suffering in the world. And I think the more that you do that, the more that you can give and serve without any expectation of anything coming back to you, the more that you gain that peace that I think that people think they can buy with $1. There's no amount of money that buys peace. It's a decision.
Jason Crisneros, Anton J. Global, thank you for being on this week. And definitely appreciate that, and hope everybody got a lot of info, because I know that there's just so much that we're going to be breaking up over the next week or two. So next we have Michael Cassello. Now, Michael is a part of Unispace. He's the chief revenue officer there. I've known Michael for a number of years, and his take on, you know, business and his personal life is being passionate and being authentic.
It's really simple. It's two things, two concepts, but I think they're important and mean even more when they're put together. It's be passionate and be authentic.
Be passionate.
It's that simple.
Be authentic. Absolutely.
You know, I believe firmly that it's very difficult for anyone, or let me just speak for myself. I can't perform well when I'm not passionate about what I'm doing. And I've made some changes in my career at different points where I no longer had the passion to do the thing I was there to do. And could I have continued along the path? Absolutely. But it wasn't who I was. And that kind of gets to the next piece, which is be authentic. I like to think that I'm authentic. I like to think that the success, whatever success I may or may not have had in my career, is because others see me as being authentic. To me, those are my two credo. That's the credo.
And finally, we have Liz Smith, a chief administrative officer from SEPTA. Now, Liz is just a powerhouse in her industry and in her business. She definitely is a leader among, just all the different people here in the Philadelphia area, and helping run the sixth largest transit network in the United States. And her thing is to really force yourself out of your comfort zone, which she's done throughout her career and both her career and personal life. So here's a little bit from Liz Smith.
I think for me, it's definitely something that's always changing. But in the past 10 years, where I've really grown, both personally and professionally, is by forcing myself outside of my comfort zone. And I think it's, no surprise to anyone. We know that that's where a lot of growth occurs, but it's really hard to get there. When I started working on the King of Prussia Rail project and I first came to SEPTA, it was really my first touch point with a project that involved a lot of public hearings and some fairly angry residents as part of the project as well. And believe it or not, I'm sure I seem very comfortable to everyone on the show right now. But I was absolutely petrified of public speaking, like sweaty palms, nervous in the pit of my stomach.
Right.
I would do anything to get out of a presentation. And I was very fortunate. I had a boss at the time who said, listen, you're really great at talking to people. I think you would be really good at this. And he pushed me into giving some presentations for the King of Prussia project. And I actually found that to be one of my strongest skill sets, and it still is. That public speaking now is what I pride myself on. So, I very much went from not ever wanting to do it and being scared of it to it being something I feel very comfortable doing now, and something that I get, complimented on all of the time. And I think it's really helped launch me in my career. If you can stand in front of a crowd and express yourself well, people stand up and notice that. And so that's one of the reasons I think that I am where I am in SEPTA right now. But it doesn't stop in the office. I try and do the same thing in my personal life, whether it is forcing myself to love running, which is something that I started about 10 years ago.
Nice.
Always hated it. Forced myself to train for Broad Street. And is that not just the best run that you can do here in Philadelphia? And now
Indeed.
It's a part of the year that I really look forward to. I've made running friends. I've gotten closer with members of my family through running, And again, I think it really helped me prove to myself that I could do hard things. And that has done wonders for my self-confidence moving forward. So that would be my credo, is push yourself outside your comfort zone, because that's where you're going to grow.
So thank you, Liz. And so, as we wrap this up, I want to just thank again all the people that have come onto the show so far. I'm really grateful for them to have taken the time out to share wisdom with all of you. And for me, I haven't shared my wisdom on the wall. So I guess this would be as good of a time as any. If you trade your expectations for appreciation, everything changes like that. It's one of the things I live by. This has been an incredible year. We can look at it in many different ways in 2020. It has been, it's been exciting. It's been challenging. It's been frustrating. It's been sad. And, there's been, some very challenging times here in, the Philadelphia area, whether it be through the pandemic, in business, with the racial inequality, everything that's just going on. And, if we can, stay, going back to Jerry Sweeney, staying focused on our family, what's important to us and who's most important to us. I know my wife and my wife and my kids are the most important people to me in my life, bar none. Having faith, in a deep belief in ourselves and God and consciousness, that's important. Staying focused on the tasks at hand. There's lots of things that are out there that have many different distractions, but just keeping our heads down and keeping focused pretty consistently, persistently, keep pushing the ball forward, and just focusing in on those things that are important to us. So I want to list, and also obviously moving forward. 2021 will be here before we know it. I hope everybody has a happy holiday period. We've got a great show coming up next week. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you, LinkedIn Live, for watching our first show here, and hope to see you on many more to come. So we'll be on again next Tuesday, I believe at 2 p.m. this time. So have a wonderful day. Thank you, and have a happy Thanksgiving to those of you here in the United States. Bye-bye.